Welcome. My name is Greg Rundlett. Most of you know me. I'm amongst friends, I think. But if you already know me, bear with me as I introduce myself to some others. I like to call myself a knowledge hacker, someone at the intersection of free knowledge and free software. Before I tell you about MEZA, let me give you a little of the backstory and how I came to be here today. I'm so thrilled to share the stage with Ward because my introduction to wikis was in 1999 using the first Perl wiki that Ward invented as the back end at a startup company called Raging Bull. In 2013, after I lost my mom to cancer and my job to outsourcing, I dared to start my own business called Equality Technology. Equality Tech, Wiki Love. So I dared to start my own company and offering free software solutions. By 2017, the business had pretty much focused on service and support of MediaWiki. And that happened because I discovered MEZA, and let me just click. And that didn't work. Yes, I discovered MEZA. Some people in the room will recognize this photo from back in 2018 at Houston, at the Enterprise MediaWiki conference in Houston, where we had a great time. And not only did I discover MEZA, but I adopted it for my own use and turned that into a product called QualityBox. I used QualityBox to service and support customer wikis, but I couldn't scale the business as a solopreneur and eventually gave up on the business in 2020 after the pandemic hit to go back to being an employee. But I was fortunate to join a multinational software company with headquarters in Cambridge, leading their adoption of MediaWiki, actually working side by side with their vendor, Wikibase Solutions, in the Netherlands. So with that background, let me tell you more about MEZA. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about what MEZA is, who MEZA is for, why should I care about MEZA, what's in it for me, what's the current status of MEZA, and we'll close out with a look at what's next. So MEZA is an Ansible-driven infrastructure as code complete platform for wiki farms. That's the buzzword compliant description. And MEZA is a push-button solution to knowledge management. That's your sales and marketing description of what MEZA is. And I like this visual. The MEZA is the entire MediaWiki ecosystem in a convenient spill-proof package. It's that big planet in the middle is MediaWiki. We've already heard about other MediaWiki packages or MediaWiki Plus systems like Canasta, BlueSpice, or ProWiki, or Fandom. I prefer the term distribution because these things are vendor supplied, enhanced, and purpose configured systems based on MediaWiki. I borrow that term from, I borrow the term distribution from Drupal, the Drupal project, or even the Linux project. MEZA is another distribution of MediaWiki. Technically speaking, MEZA is a bunch of YAML. It's Jinja templates, it's shell scripts, some Python code, PHP code, Markdown, and Docker files. So according to a reliable formula, using the average developer salary for 2023, MEZA is a complex and powerful software system worth approximately $2.8 million. So who's it for? There are MediaWiki consultants here. There are system administrators here responsible for their organizational wikis. There are hosters who offer MediaWiki as a service. MEZA is for you. MEZA is not for hobbyists. MEZA is not for beginners. MEZA is complex. Even if it's automated, it's complex. MediaWiki, which is just one aspect of it, is complex. I think we can all agree. I think we all tend in tech to sugarcoat things and make it, everything's 5 minutes. It's not. And running your own MediaWiki, in my personal professional opinion, running your own MediaWiki, because it's free software, is like setting up your own mail server to do email. No amount of automation is going to eliminate the underlying fact that this is a tool to basically orchestrate the entire web. If you want a wiki, but you don't do this stuff for a living, please seek professional help. And I mean that not as a joke. I mean that in the right way. Please seek professional assistance, where plans range from white glove service, like Ike described, to extremely affordable and even free. So you don't have to go it alone, but you shouldn't even try. So why should I use MEZA? Because it's good for you. And it's got wholesome ingredients. It's sugar-free, caffeine-free, alcohol-free. It's fee-free. I'm looking at you, Confluence and SharePoint. But what do I mean? What do I mean it's good for me? It's if it were a food product instead of a technical one, I'd put it like this. It's all of these things. It's 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 calories. It's keto friendly. It's gluten free and non-GMO, tooth friendly, tummy friendly, diabetic friendly, vegan, and 0 glycemic, no erythritol. So it's not a food product. So let's take a look from a technical perspective. MEZA takes care of the full spectrum of needs, from the network to services to data to operations. And on the network side, you've got the load balancer, you've got your TLS termination, you've got your firewall setup that you need to be concerned with. On the services side, you've got web and Java and Elasticsearch and MediaWiki and other maybe sidecars and side containers like was just mentioned, Clam antivirus or something like that. On the data side, you've got your database, you've got replication, you need backups. So you've got all this data management that you need to be responsible for. And then you have to package it all together into daily operations, ongoing operations that first are founded on security, but monitoring, alerting, and continuous deployments and integration and so on. MEZA addresses these things. Really? MEZA does all that? What responsibilities does it handle? Well, again, it handles everything in this complete spectrum. You've got operating system fundamentals, Apache and its modules, PHP and its modules, Composer dependency resolution, Python versions, Python modules, automation, backups, MediaWiki. And as everyone knows, MediaWiki involves code updates and database updates and cron jobs and maintenance scripts and configuring wikis, creating new wikis, deleting wikis, the task runner for periodic jobs, Elasticsearch and other services in the services architecture, your firewall, a distributed file system if you do have a cluster and not just a single instance. It takes care of your proxy, the web content that might be ancillary to MediaWiki itself. So image processing, security, the Lua installation, so you can do things like Ubuntu and move past or move to the future with Parsoid. Your whole cache system or caching systems, your logging, your monitoring, cluster synchronization if you have multiple servers, multiple targets, authentication, which SAML's kind of built in, and SAML itself is extremely just one aspect that's extremely complicated. And extensions. We saw in Yaron's talk about selecting quality extensions. MEZA is opinionated about, and it saves you the effort of selecting the baseline extensions that you would need to make a MediaWiki Plus. And plus. So MEZA pre-installs curated MediaWiki extensions. And in a minute, I'll tell you about how MEZA gives you extreme flexibility to add your own selections. So here's what 0 to 100 looks like with MEZA. On the left, you install, you run get meza.sh, you do a MEZA deploy, you add your settings and selections, you do another MEZA deploy, you're done. You're operational. Here's a more linear view. You download from GitHub. MEZA is maintained on GitHub at GitHub in NASA's repository on GitHub. So just go to github.com/NASA/MEZA, download it. Then you deploy it from your laptop on the beach. I wore my nice beach-like wear. I live in Salisbury Beach, Massachusetts. So you can work from the beach. Then you create your conf repo, your configuration repo to store and track your customizations. So that's where you store your settings, and that could be a private or public repository. It's up to you. But then you continuously deploy, develop and deploy. And you can deploy to any target. It could be a local development target, which is powered by VirtualBox. It can be any tier in your cloud or on-site infrastructure. So that means that you can deploy to dev, to QA, staging, production. And like Annie DeFranco sings, I'm 32 flavors and then some. One of MEZA's strongest features is that it allows for complete overrides and selections for each wiki in the farm. So it's like, I love ice cream. I love candy. That's why I got this, I have an incurable sweet tooth. That's why I have this theme, this candy theme presentation today. But it's like going to Baskin Robbins for ice cream. Everyone gets their own choice instead of the one carton of ice cream that dad likes. And with MEZA, you can have different branches in your main repo for platform versions, for modules that you install. So like, for example, I've got a branch that adds Kibana for Elasticsearch visibility. So you have multiple branches and platform versions in your Git repo. And then you've got configurations in your conf repo for each farm member, and you multiply that, and pretty soon you've got a lot of combinations. And so that is totally possible. If I use another food metaphor, MEZA has all the essential amino acids for life. It's got everything. It's got monitoring. It's got chat. It's got semantic MediaWiki and other semantic extensions. It's got short URLs or pretty URLs. There's no index.php to get in your way. You've got search powered by Elasticsearch. You've got content, default content, and templates to help get you set up right out of the box. It's an open project where the mission is to extend Wikimedia Foundation best practices and best of breed software into the organization and the enterprise. And for anyone who's a boss and trying to look at the budget at the end of the day, it's just plain efficient. It's giving you the possibility to do more with less. So let's take a look at the status. MEZA is hot out of the oven. There's release notes. I'm going to share my presentation after this talk, and there's a link right there in the release notes. But after a period of relative stagnation for the MEZA project originally developed at Johnson Space Center in Houston, the Armstrong Test Facility and Goddard Research Center facilities in Ohio hired me through affiliation with Brian Hildebrand and Yaron Koren to revive the project. So we brought the project up from a RHEL 135 version to RHEL 139 compatibility and PHP 8.1 compatibility, and adding features like pretty URLs. So that's what that looks like. And so we added things like PHP 8.1 using the REMI repo and Elasticsearch 7.10.2 and SAML authentication, upgrading the entire authentication stack, updating Composer and Composer operations. So many new features. I know there's some people in the audience who are using MEZA and probably still on the old version, because we just, this is fresh out of the oven. And this is what you can look forward to. You've got now only executing SMW rebuild data on demand so that your deploys are going to go much faster. You've got pretty URLs. You can deploy over local changes if you're doing development and you just want to keep repeating and testing. You can blow stuff away and redeploy, which that is one of the, I know there was some comments in the last presentation about Ansible and being unsure what you get, but Ansible is by nature idempotent and designed to produce an end state. So I respectfully disagree that you can't have a stable system with Ansible. But we also added WebP image support. We added Composer self-update, I think I mentioned, and it's just faster. I made a ton of optimizations to make it faster. Let's see, but there's other changes as well. MEZA is not a WMF project, and we did use WMF style quality control and continuous integration techniques in the process, the kind you'd get to give Garrett a plug here. It's the kind of quality control that you get when you use Garrett for your source code hosting. And we used industry best practices in the Ansible automation world. And we performed, for example, static analysis with PHP Stan and Fan on 92 extensions. All extensions included with MEZA have been reviewed by static analysis to ensure that at least we don't have any obvious errors in the code base. And we introduced other best practices like using editor config and YAML lint and Ansible lint in the for development, just to squash bugs before they even happen. So a little bit more about continuous integration. Again, we embrace that concept, and throughout the process of updating MEZA, the original project had a few tests, both unit tests and integration tests and system level tests, but they of course were all old and out of date. So we specifically focused on updating these: the image check, the server check, the wiki check. These tests in turn are used in system level scripts like backup to remote controller. That script does a fairly good job of testing the entire system. In fact, these scripts were developed by James and Darren down in Houston to emulate the continuous integration operations of Travis CI, because that was used originally back when Travis CI was free to open source projects. So we were able to get that to run. That runs about 70 tasks, including creating a new wiki. And so a great way to test all your changes. So this slide is just meant to show you that we use tags and releases, and we use semantic versioning and get tags in the development and release process. And so then that leaves us to the future. MEZA is ready for immediate use if you want to enjoy a push button experience for knowledge management, but there is a lot left to do. There's new features to be implemented. There's new users that I hope join the project. There's a need for updated documentation for sure, which most of that documentation today lives on MediaWiki.org, so anyone can update it. And maybe there's something that we haven't even thought of. And so that's where your input comes in handy. So these are some of the things that are in the works: live stats package, platform upgrades, Kibana for making Elasticsearch visibility and dashboards, wider OS support, QualityBox brought in Debian support, but we've kind of fell behind on that, so would love to bring that back. Auth examples using, say, OpenID. TLS automation it's already automated. Certificate generation is already automated, but I'd like to expand on that. And one thing I forgot, let's see. Maybe I can show you. Yes. So this is what the stats package currently looks like. This is a live view on my wiki. And oh, I forgot to also share. There's my motorcycle license plate. So if anyone sees me zooming through town, you know it was me. So one thing I'd like to say is that if I'm lucky, someone nudge will pay me to carry the mission forward. But my ideas about what MEZA needs are in my fork that's on GitHub as well. There's 59 issues there. Those 59 issues are some of the things that I think need to happen. The 31 closed issues dig deeper into what just happened with the 39X release. So feel free to dig into those details on GitHub. And one thing I'd like to see is for continued consolidation or collaboration between the distributions, whether those distributions are pure open source or from commercial vendors. I think that's definitely going to happen. And last, I just want to especially thank Rich Evans at NASA for giving me the opportunity to carry the ball from RHEL 135 to RHEL 139. And it was a pleasure working with you and Brian and Yaron. So that's all I have about MEZA. So I'll turn it over to questions if we have time. Let's see.
We got time. Questions? Anyone? Brian?
You mentioned some things you'd like to see done. Is there a roadmap that is visible to the public?
Yes, there is. Great question. If I go over here to, let's see, this is Get MEZA. That's the Get MEZA script, but this is my fork on GitHub, which is where I kind of ran all of the operations for the recent update. And as I mentioned, there's 59 open issues here, 31 closed issues, but these issues are not just detailed and described and tagged, but they're also organized into milestones. The milestones that I created have to deal with thematic milestones, not time-based milestones. So there's milestones in here for quality best practices. So you can see, like, here's all the things that we should do from a quality perspective. If I look at platform upgrade. Here's all the things that we should do in terms of upgrading the platform. So it's kind of, they're thematic because I think that's an easy way to look at it and to put together things that are related. But then it's kind of up to us to try to, as a community or as a sponsor, to organize these into actual projects. So for example, I created a project. Let's see. This is not the project. I'm in the wrong spot, but there's I guess it's in my parent folder. Nope. Free file projects. Sorry. This is like an online demo that goes wrong. I have a project. I can't navigate to it. It's somewhere in here, where it just pulls together. If you've never seen the project feature of GitHub, it just allows you to pull a whole bunch of issues into a project with a status board and a roadmap and maybe a Kanban view and stuff like that. This one's already done. This is what we did in the upgrade. So it would be a simple effort to kind of pull issues into some sort of next phase project.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Ansible, and for one thing, it's fun to watch it work, but I also work a lot with Docker. So is there compatibility between Ansible and MEZA with containerization?
I lost audio. I'm sorry. Connection there for a minute.
Yeah, the question there was, he was a big fan of Ansible, but also works with Docker. Is there compatibility or integration between MEZA and containerization?
Yeah, so great question. Thanks for bringing that up. The MEZA project actually started off with Vagrant compatibility, VirtualBox compatibility, Docker compatibility. So like not bare metal, but cloud server compatibility, I'll call it, because you could deploy to, say, DigitalOcean or some EC2 instance that you stood up on Amazon. So MEZA does that, or did that. It's been a while, and so the code's rusty, and I'm not sure exactly what it looks like today for doing Docker image-based or container-based deploys. But that's certainly one thing that's like next up on the priority list, because I think, in my opinion, ideally Canasta wouldn't have a Go orchestrator. It would have Ansible as an orchestration, so you didn't have to write all that code. It would just be simple off the shelf, kind of grab it and go. But also the containerization of MEZA. Where's I going? It's there, and it just needs to be reviewed. I haven't personally looked at it recently, so I can't tell you what condition it's in. And the other thing I wanted to say is just that, taking it a next level higher, there are Ansible modules for Podman and Kubernetes and stuff like that. So with Ansible as your orchestration tool, you can just automate the deployments using even CNCF tooling and Kubernetes and all that stuff, which I think would take MediaWiki deployments up to the level that WMF is at. WMF is doing this now with their infrastructure.
Good to hear.
Awesome. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much, Greg.